Hey, this is Riddle. Welcome back to my channel. I am an artist, I am an organic farmer, I'm an intellectual, and I have a YouTube channel. I want to talk about something today that many people don't seem to cover when they talk about empaths. Now, I always knew that I had some strange abilities, and I always thought they were genetic because my mother was incredibly psychic, and she did teach us a lot about spirits and connecting and tarot cards and all that stuff. But actually, I'm a very scientific person. I love science, and I really am careful about what I put my belief towards. But so many strange things have happened to me in my life that I can't claim that I'm atheist or agnostic. There are a lot of things that are just unexplainable. So recently, the last 5 to 7 years, I had a big health scare. I've always taken really good care of myself because being an artist, I never had health care, and I didn't have the luxury of getting sick. I'm going to have a little seat right over here on my favorite chair. So when I got chronic fatigue syndrome, and there's just no help. People think you're crazy. Just to appease the doctors, I went to psychologists. They're like, you're not depressed. Why isn't anyone helping you? They ran every test known to man on me, and they couldn't find anything wrong, but I was exhausted. And it was the kind of exhaustion that gets into your head even. I couldn't think, I couldn't string words together, and it was crippling, and I really didn't think I was going to survive it. Then, the last couple months, many things came to my attention. One was diet. Even though I eat really well and I felt that how I was eating was moderate, there were still things in my diet that I guess my body's really sensitive to, mainly sugar and grains. I've been doing the keto thing, and everyone knows that the chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia is a inflammatory disease. So the days that I eat no grains and eat no sugar, my body feels great. I have no joint pain, I have no fatigue, and the days that I cheat, it comes back, and I can't explain it. But it's working, so I'm going to roll with it. But the empath thing, this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, is that empaths, we actually have, it's actually a psychological thing, and it actually often has a root in your family history, and often from childhood trauma. I was listening to an author on NPR, and her husband, she grew up in an alcoholic family, and her husband, describes her intuition as her witchy ways or her witchy powers. Because if you grew up in a violent or alcoholic environment, you had to develop these sensitivities and these skills at a really young age. Because if dad came home drunk, and you didn't know if he was violent and was just going to start kicking everyone's asses, or if it was going to be the happy drunk, as soon as he walked in that door, you had to be prepared for whatever. And growing up in a violent environment, walking the streets, you had to read people. You had to pick up on signals. You had to, it was very animalistic. So in your adulthood, that trauma, that need to have a higher perception of human behavior translates into becoming an empath. And many people try to say it's this psychic power or this supernatural thing, but it's actually a really natural thing. Now, where it gets difficult is it served a purpose. That heightened level of empathy served a purpose for survival while you're in that experience of trauma. But when we grow up, we often remove ourselves from those environments, but we're still living in those wounds, and we still have that super heightened sensitivity to people. So when I go out in public, I pick up all the negativity in everyone, and people sometimes aggress towards me because of my empathetic energy, and that's what I am sensitive to, and that's what they're acting out against. So One of the things I learned about my chronic fatigue is that I was fatigued because I was never reserving my energy. Even when I was sitting at home, I could watch the news, I could get a phone call or emails or texts from a friend or Facebook, and I was just 24/7 being sucked dry because of my sensitivity to human emotion. So what I learned to do is two things. I learned to realize that this wasn't some supernatural or weird thing that I couldn't control, and I started to take count of how much energy I was actually putting out, starting with first thing when I woke up in the morning, what I was thinking about, and how much emotional energy I was allowing to be taken from me, and how many emotions that I was feeling weren't actually even my emotions. Once I was aware of that, I started to do deep breathing and tell myself these aren't my genuine emotions, these are someone else's, and there's no purpose for me to be connected to this. I don't need to be sensitive to this. I don't need to control this. And I would let go of it right away instead of allowing it to drain my energy. The second thing I do when I go out in public now, instead of going out with this giant force field, and that's what I realized I was doing and why people were reacting so strange to me, is even though I had a smile on my face and I seemed like I was super cool, like overly cool, I was putting out this force field of protection that was literally pushing into other people's spaces. And people that were sick or people that were angry or people that were sensitive were reacting to that. So when I go out now, I pull consciously, I pull my energy in really tight around me. I imagine it to be, someone suggested the color pink because white doesn't let anything out. Pink allows you to push it out, pull it in, and I keep it as close to my body as possible so I'm protected, and I'm trying to close out what I want to around me, other people's thinking, other people's pain, other people's anger, and at the same time, I'm not pushing into other people's energy fields. And I know that sounds crazy, but we do have an energy field around our body. We are electric beings. So again, it has this somewhat of a basis in science, and someday we'll probably understand this a lot more than what we do now. So mainly, if you come from a abusive or alcoholic family, it's important for you to know that you have special abilities. They're not supernatural or anything to be afraid of, but it may be something that you're going to have to learn to control, to save your own energy and to save your own sanity. Okay, I think that covers what I need to talk about right now. If you have any questions or if you have anything to add to this, please put it in the comment box. If you enjoy my money-saving tips, rants, raves, art, and these type of videos, please subscribe, it helps. And I really want you to take care of yourselves. And I want you to take care of each other, because how we treat each other on the streets, that's ultimately our reality. Bye for now.